What's going on, folks? How we doing this evening? Yes, we're going to talk about the last sports team we saw on there, the Boston Red Sox tonight. We have two very special guests with us tonight. Um, they're they're running good in spring training right now. Very excited about the beginning of this start. Today we're going to talk about the rules again. We're going to go over the weaknesses, the pitchers, and I'm ready to get the show started. Let's go. First, well, we're just gonna bring them in both together. I'm in ballpark. How are you, bud?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Returning to the channel. Thank you very much. Um, so you're ready? They're 8-0. I don't think they played today. I have no idea. I didn't look.
They did play today. They beat the Yankees
So we're 9 and
11-7.
0.
Yeah, so they
I
it
was at
was
work all day, so spring training's hard to keep up with.
it sure
Uh,
is.
well, well, the next guy, he's got a lot on his plate coming up. We're gonna bring him in. He works down in Miami, and he's got some
How are
big
you guys
stuff coming
doing?
up this week with the World Baseball Classic. What's up, Nick? How are you?
I'm doing great. Excited for this.
Getting away from Marlins and the World Baseball Classic for a couple, maybe an hour. I think we
Yeah,
got about an
I'm
hour, right,
excited for World
guys?
Baseball Classic, man. It's only happens once every 3 years, and it's first time since 2017. So it's gonna be really cool. A lot of big names are playing in it this year, so I'm very excited.
Um, okay, well, are the World Baseball Classic running the same rules as the MLB, or are they running original rules?
So they're running the old rules. Actually, the only rule they're keeping, or they're that is new to the World Baseball Classic, is after 9 innings they will start with a runner on second base. They're keeping the old bases, no pitch clock, shifts are legal. Um, I guess that's it. Everything else is normal, but most of them are major league players, so they might try to stick with the pitch clock or try to keep it fast, but you never know.
Okay. Um, So I personally thought with the bases, I thought they've only should have advanced first base to make it bigger. I don't feel they had to do it to all the bases. They didn't move home plate. They like really this is where all the collisions happen now is first base. I feel that that's the only base they really needed to adjust for less leg injuries on the ankles. Um, what are you guys' thoughts?
To me, honestly, I don't think the bases are that big of a deal. I I get what you're saying about that, but why? I don't think they would ever change one and not the other two. You know, I just don't see that ever happening. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's they try to preventing the runner stepping on the first baseman's foot, but I just don't ever see him just changing one. But the basis to me was the least big change in the Major League Baseball. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. Maybe there'll be a little bit more steals, but I don't think it'll be that big of a difference.
Ballpark?
Yeah, I mean, I know I had heard an interview with Theo Epstein because they were putting those rules in the minors, and I just a couple inches bigger. I don't know if that really changes the game for steals. I think teams are going to have to get past the mentality that they're more concerned with the statistical advantage of steals. Well, if you're only successful on this percentage, well, then we shouldn't steal. Like I think teams are going to have to just get rid of that mentality and say, well, there's benefits to stealing if you have base stealers, and you have speed on the bases. I don't think the size of the bags really matters. I think it's more of a mentality shift in organizations and trying to develop base runners more than the size of the bags.
What do you guys feel about the only two attempts for a pickoff?
Personally, I don't like it. Cause as someone who's played baseball in the past and would love to pick over 5 times in a row just to piss off the runner, just it's something I don't like, but I guess it's where the game's moving now. It's got to happen. I The pitch clock I think is more. It's allowed. I think the pitch clock's better for baseball than the pickoff rule. I just think the pickoff rule is just kind of stupid. I mean,
Okay.
and they're forcing balks more, I guess. So I don't know. I just don't see why it's needed. I get the pitch clock, even if I don't think it's perfect. I get why they have the pitch clock, but the pickoff rule, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think it's just completely stupid. I watch a lot of baseball, and not just the Red Sox. I'm up watching West Coast games whenever I can find, and I don't think I've ever sat down and watched a game and said this guy's picking off way too much in this start. Like I just don't think it's ever really been an issue. And then I saw someone posted a video the other day of there was a pitcher he had already thrown over twice, and the base stealer basically timed it up, and he got this massive jump. And it was basically if he had stepped off, he would have had to have gotten the runner out, or it would have advanced the runner to second. Like I just don't think that's how the game is intended to be played, where base runners can necessarily just guess because the guy has no choice but to go home, essentially. I didn't think it was an issue. I think that was a rule that has no purpose being in the game.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Very rarely do you see someone pick over 3 times in one at bat. It just never happens. Maybe 5 times a year. Like I don't remember seeing it very often. And if you want to do it, why can't you do it? That's how I think about it. I don't think that's speeding up the game in any way if you can't pick over 3 times in the bat.
So they're not allowed to step off the mound, even if the guy takes off?
You have
They
to get him
can.
out. If you don't get him out the third time, he awarded second base, I guess.
So if he takes off running, are you allowed to step off and throw to the second baseman? I mean, could this be a new design play to pick him off halfway down the line?
I suppose, but I
I
think it
imagine we're
just
going to see shifty plays coming up.
we're going to
I
see,
mean, we
I
might
think,
even see
a
the one
couple
four
of things.
three pickoff, which could be pretty wild.
It's
Go
going to
ahead.
be
Sorry, I
interesting.
interrupted you. Sorry. Go ahead,
No,
Paul.
that's okay. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think smart base runners are going to really kind of maybe just get an extra head start, not necessarily taking off completely, but if you can get a shuffle before the pitcher is releasing the ball, I mean, you're getting an incredible jump. And I mean, to the point where I don't even know if the catcher would bother throwing down. But I do think we could see some strange plays in the month of April as the players start to adjust to these new rules.
Another thing I could see, I mean, you haven't brought up the pitch clock yet, but if you see,
Well, you kind of did. That's why I didn't bring it up.
Yeah,
We kind
sorry,
of just mentioned it real quick. Sorry,
if
Nick.
if you can see the pitch clock as a runner and it's at 1, you might as well take off because it's either going to be a ball or a balk, or he's going to deliver the pitch. So I think that might be a strategy. If it comes down to 1, you can just take off, or you can keep getting your lead bigger. I think there's going to be – I think they want more offense. They want more base stealers. I just don't get why. I don't think the
Higher
pickoff rule needed to be a thing.
higher offense usually means longer games.
That's the same thing with – there's other rules they wanted more offense too with the shift too.
So what about the shift? Are we going to see a 2 outfield platoon?
I personally think there will be a lot of it. Not every hitter, but I think there will be some hitters that they're going to do it for. I think the Blue Jays probably will do it for Devers. They used to go 4 outfielders. They might go – I'm not really sure. I mean, they're going to put someone behind second base. They're going to they did it. Red Sox did it for Joey Gallo. They're going to put someone behind second base. There are going to be certain hitters that they're going to have 2 outfielders for.
I mean, there's ways around it, right? They didn't cover all the rules, and they left people to be optimism a little bit with this. like my first thought is the two outfielders play left center, right center. Um, Maybe even back to the third baseman up a little bit to put a little bit more, not fully out there, but I mean a little bit back because you want to, because a lot of them guys are not going to go to left field if you're a left-handed batter.
So yeah, the infielders have to be on the dirt. Something I saw the Astros did for Bobby Dahlbeck is Altuve played basically on the bag, and they left the entire second base open. And they brought the first baseman over kind of in the hole, and they basically had three infielders on the left side, but Altuve was just on the bag. I mean, I think that might happen a lot.
Thoughts up there, Mr. Buzz?
I mean, I definitely think certain batters. I think it's worth trying the two outfielders. The only thing that if you have to put one of the outfielders in short right field, then that outfielder has to be somebody who can make an accurate throw fairly quickly, kind of like the second baseman would, or shortstop, whoever they put in short right field. And they have to essentially field a ground ball in a quickly manner because sometimes they're pretty deep, so those plays are relatively quick and close at first base. But I do think they are going to. I do think some teams will try the two outfield set against extreme pull hitters and say basically, I dare you to pull or go the other way in the air and see if you can do it.
I think it's more risky for the defenses because you're leaving a triple open instead of a double, basically now. Because the ball, the outfield is now a triple if you don't have a third outfielder instead of it used to be a double down the third baseline or the first baseline, however they were shifting.
If the guy's got speed, it could be an inside the Parker.
That's true.
Especially some of them corners, and depending on what field you're in, you know. All right. Covered the rules. Strengths. I have catchers like the strongest strength on this team. I just feel that. Reese, McGuire, Connor, and Jorge.
So I got a question about Jorge. How are we going to get him on the 40-man roster? Because if Wong's not starting the team, if he's not going to start the year on the 26-man, Alfaro has to be on the 26-man, and he's not in the 40-man right now. So there's got to be a move made to get him on. I don't know what that is. Is it Brazier? Is it Ort? Or is it a position player? Is it Dahlbeck? Is it Duran? Like it's somebody. And right now, I don't know who.
Yeah, I think they have till March 25th to make a decision on him.
Yep.
So, I mean, based on Wong, it doesn't sound like, especially him being a catcher and having to use his legs a ton. I don't think he would be close to the opening day timeline. So, I mean, I think Alfaro is definitely the backup to McGuire. I would think. I would think it would be Dahlbeck or Ort in my opinion at this point. I still think Duran. I'm intrigued by the new batting stance, the hands being higher, and I still think he has upside. I think Dahlbeck is exactly who he's been over the last couple of seasons. High strikeout. He has pop and he can run into one every now and then, but I'm ready for the Bobby Dahlbeck experiment in Boston to be over. I think he really needs consistent ABs in a less stressful environment. And I think a change of scenery would be good for him. So my vote would be Dahlbeck to open up a spot.
I agree. It's just, is it a DFA? Is it a trade for a player to be named later? Just what does it look like? I don't know.
So what were your guys' strength?
Personally, I go bullpen maybe. I like the bullpen signings they made. I think signing Kenley pushes everyone down a little bit, and you know, and you never know. Whitlock may end up in the bullpen again, and that makes it a little bit better. But at the moment, I don't think they're going to put Whitlock in the bullpen anytime soon. So you never know. I think Alfaro and McGuire can handle catching, like you said. I think they're both good. Wong, I don't. I'm actually like Wong when he comes back. I think he'll be fine too.
You think Mills is going to get a bullpen spot?
Yeah, I do. I hope so, or at least.
Ballpark quiet.
I didn't want to talk over anybody, but I would agree with the bullpen. I think the bullpen is a strength. I think Jansen is the experience of closing is something that this team hasn't had since Kimbrel left, and I think that is a huge boost. I like the Martin signing, and then I think if the rotation can get healthy, it potentially opens up options of Tanner Houck going to the bullpen potentially. Maybe Whitlock if the rotation doesn't work out, you throw in one of these starters, and maybe they add a couple miles per hour to their fastball and they become an elite reliever. I've always been intrigued by Pivetta in the bullpen, but I mean, I don't know. He doesn't look real good in spring right now, but I mean, I think I like Pivetta potentially as a bullpen option over a starting option. But with how many question marks are in the rotation and where the innings may come from, moving a guy who has historically been able to take the ball every 5 days might not be something that they want to do with Pivetta. They might want to keep him in the rotation. But I think the bullpen there's enough options out there to really shut down offenses at the end of the game. As long as Ryan Brazier is not in the 8th or 9th inning, I think I'll be okay.
So is that going to be the starting five, guys? Is it going to be Sale, Kluber, Pivetta, Whitlock, and Paxton? Is that going to be the starting five? That was early prediction.
I think as of now, Whitlock is going to miss at least his first start. They've held him back a little bit. And Paxton also had a little hamstring injury, even though they say he's doing well, I guess. They also don't need a fifth starter for about 10 days or something. If they go with Sale, Pivetta, Houck, and then why am I forgetting?
Kluber.
Kluber will be probably the number 2 starter. It'll be Sale, Kluber, Houck. And I don't know. Cutter Crawford might get a few starts. I feel like he's done enough to make the roster at least, Hopefully Bayo's back in time too. I think Bayo's good. I really do. I mean, they've been babying him a little bit too.
Okay. So you think they're going to run with 4 at least for the first week and a half?
I don't see Pivetta going to the bullpen until everybody's back. He's the guy that they know who's going to take the ball, and he's going to at least give him 5 innings. And he might not be great, but he's going to go out there and he's going to do something. He's not going to be scared to throw the ball over the plate. He's not going to get hurt as much as the other guys, I guess. Paxton always has some injury history. Sale's had some injury history. They're babying Whitlock and Bayo. They're going to let Pivetta go out there, throw 100, 105, 110 pitches, and let him do what he does. So I think he's in the rotation to at least start. I mean, maybe down the line he's in the bullpen like he was in 21 in the playoffs, and he was pretty good there.
I think they're not going to go with a 4-man rotation from the beginning of the year. Personally, I think they are going to name Cutter Crawford that 5th starter. If as of right now on March 9th, I think with Chris Sale is the guy I think they're going to try to be super careful with. So I think if they can give him in the beginning of the year an extra day off, I think they're going to do that. And I think they're going to let Crawford pitch. He showed last year he had some really, really good starts. And then at the end of the year, right before he went down with his arm injury, he kind of fell off a little bit, had some tough starts. But I do think he's capable of being a fifth starter. And I think they're going to try to give the guys, especially in the beginning of the year when pitch counts aren't that high, I think they're going to try to give all the starters maybe an extra day with those off days.
So where does that leave Tanner Hawk?
I think he's in the rotation to start the
Yeah.
year. I do think if everybody is healthy, it'll probably be Sale, Kluber, Whitlock, Bayo, and then it's either Houck, Paxton going for that like 5 spot.
Because Cora did say he wanted to get him as many innings as possible, possible long relief spot. So is that like a PLR? Is it, yeah, I don't really recall Boston running that kind of stuff, but it seems to be the new thing to do. So
I think Houck can succeed as a starter, but he's got 2 very good pitches in his fastball and his slider. His changeup split he's working on it. He needs a third pitch to be a very good starter, and he needs to throw a little bit more strikes. But I think he's very talented, and I think he could succeed as like an 8th or 9th inning guy. I think he's got the stuff to be like a good to great reliever, but he's got enough upside that you kind of want him to start. I don't know. I think he's going to start the season in the rotation, but I don't know if he ends the season in the rotation.
Okay. And that brings us to ballpark your guy. Oh, go ahead. Were you going to talk about Huck?
I was just going to talk one more thing on the rotation. I think it'll be interesting, not just in April, but I think the entire year, because you have numerous pitchers who have thrown very limited innings over the last 2-3 years. I think Sale is under 50. Paxton's under 25 in the last 3 years. Whitlock since his Tommy John surgery, is under 80 innings. Houck, I don't think has ever thrown over 70 in a big league season. So I think, how do they manage all of these arms so that they don't throw so much, and come August or September, they're not starting to show that they're tired because they haven't had a full workload over the course of a season. It's going to be something I think it's going to be interesting to watch. If they have the depth, as I think they believe they have the depth to kind of give guys breaks, maybe it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
So where does your guy that has come from low A last year all the way to Triple A, Chris Sale, said he's been the most improved player throughout the almost spring training? I read that yesterday or this morning. Where does he rank, and who is he?
I mean, I think his stuff is electric. I think. How do they want to develop him? Do they want to develop him as a starter? He's their top pitching prospect now in the system with Bayo graduating.
He's 23 years old.
He's 23 years old. He probably could make this bullpen. I think he could be a part of the bullpen out of opening day, ready to go. But then, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery, so how do you stretch him out if that's really a goal? Or do they just let him throw 55, 60 innings, 70 innings out of the bullpen and say, well, that was a good workload for his first full season back from Tommy John surgery? Or do they just put him in AAA, say we're going to kind of monitor your innings throughout the year, and maybe we see him make a spot start sometime in June or July in the second half? I think it's going to be interesting to see, because I think in terms of stuff, I think he definitely belongs on the opening day roster. But it just depends on how they want to develop him. He's only 23, and he's their top pitching prospect. If you move him to the pen now, does that interrupt his development moving forward? You never know with young pitchers.
Nick?
I think, was it a couple years ago he was ranked higher than Bayo? Correct? Am I right?
Yeah,
there?
he was their fourth
There's
prospect
Tommy
prior to his Tommy John surgery
Well,
going
I've
into the
been
2021 year.
super
He's
impressed
number
by
7
him.
now from what I read.
I'm super impressed by him, at least in the spring. I don't see there's any chance of him making the opening day roster. Even like what you said, he's got better stuff than some of these guys in the pen. But I just don't see him making the opening day roster. And honestly, I probably develop him as a starter and just stick him in AAA and say you're going to be a starter next year. Pavetta's gone and Kluber's probably gone, and hopefully you can start next year and you'll be with Bayo and Sale. And then that's your rotation going forward is 2 young guys. You want to Whitlock, Bayo, and Mata, and then maybe Walter will maybe be like a 5 starter in the back next year or something. You never know. But I think he's got great stuff. You throw, what is he, like 98, 97 right now? Right? He looks good. I bet you he can get up to like 100 in the bullpen if he really wanted to. But I just don't see him making the team. Maybe he makes a spot start if you absolutely need him to. But I just don't see it happening right now. I do like him, though.
I know Ballpark's been talking him up pretty much every day. At some point, there's been a tweet out from you. I pay attention.
Yeah, and I think it's telling because, you know, if they're really trying to win in 23, wouldn't he be a part of the bullpen? You know, I think, you know, but if you're really trying to compete in 23, but really try to continue to build the rotation for 24 and beyond, then I think it's a no doubter that you have to put him in AAA and build him up as a starter. Because if you don't develop your top pitching prospect as a starter, then you know you're developing a bunch of 3s, 4s, or 5s by not letting him develop as a starter.
I think the biggest thing, if the Red Sox want to compete in 2023, Chris Sale has to make 30 starts. And if he doesn't make 30 starts, I just don't think the team will be good.
Be better. I just picked him on my dynasty team.
I have confidence that if Chris Sale makes 30 starts, he'll be good in those 30 starts. But it's just, will he make those 30 starts? We don't know.
Well, after I picked him, everyone's like, go ahead. After I picked him, everyone was like, bounce back year.
I hope so.
Yeah, Ballpark, you ever do a dynasty slow draft?
I haven't done a slow draft. I am in a dynasty league, but I've never done one of those slow drafts. It's an interesting concept.
Oh my gosh. It's so wild. Like you make a pick, you're like, all right, only 4 picks to go. And then you look at the time and it's like this dude has 6 hours to pick a guy.
Yeah, I can't do one of those. I actually taken a little bit off from fantasy. I haven't done football, I haven't done baseball in about 2 years. So I've been trying to get a baseball league together, but we'll see if it happens. I don't know.
Baseball is tough too. Every day you got to look. Like even if you set your lineup for the whole week, you're like, yeah, I got starters every day, and all of a sudden a guy gets injured and you didn't catch it because you didn't look. That guy's still in your roster, still in your lineup for the day. This is my first dynasty baseball, so I'm still getting used to this. But anyway, back to the Red Sox, and yeah, I did pick Chris Sale so far. So yeah, it's weird. Like we kept 10, and we still had 18 rounds of drafting to go. Do you keep anyone? Do you do it that way or no?
In my league, I do it through AutoNew, and I have a 40-man roster, and I can keep as many of those guys as I want moving forward. But there's a cap space and things like that, so it's interesting.
Oh, so you got cap space? That's crazy.
And
like this
you
is
have
the
to,
first.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like
That's
when you pick a player up on the waiver wire, like you have to bid money for him, but it has to be under your cap, and if you drop a guy, it counts towards your cap space. So it's really a lot of roster manipulation.
This is in depth. Love it. All right. So it's when is Mondesi due back?
I don't think we know. We haven't heard much about him. I don't think there is.
I tried to find out. I was hoping maybe one of you two saw something, but I saw nothing whenever I wrote this down. I think the middle infield is the weakness of this team right now.
I 100%
With
agree.
Story out and Mondesi out. I know Story's going to be out at least until, what was it, mid-July?
July, August, they're saying, I guess.
Oh, they just moved. They pushed it back to August now.
We don't really know. I mean, it's kind of up to him. Like it's how he's feeling. They said July, I think at first. He had elbow surgery. I just can't see him coming back before August. I really can't. And they're saying Bryce Harper's due back mid-July, and he had his surgery beforehand. So I can't see him returning before August. But you never know. Hopefully it works out and he's back. I mean, they need him. They need him.
So, did you guys put that down as your weakness right now for this team?
I think middle infield is the weakness of this team 100%. I mean, it's
just
Kike.
With the injuries right now. I mean, we were basing it off of right now, and that's what I was looking at and looking over, and I thought that this was.
Right now, it's Kike, Arroyo, and Chang are your middle, and then Dahlback is your next middle infielder until Mondesi comes back. And I don't want to see Dahlback play anything besides first base or third base, and I don't honestly want to see him taking at bat. Like, I really don't want to see him on the team.
So what position do any Fitzgerald or Cox play? I just saw them batting, and they look sharp, so I wrote their names down.
Fitzgerald plays everywhere, but he's not going to make the team. Is he on the 40-man? Do you know off the top of your head? I don't think he is. He had two.
I think he was the invitee, and Cox was on the 40-man roster, if I recall.
Fitzgerald's a utility guy. He's not going to make the roster. They'll take Chang over him. Yu Chang, and then we haven't seen him play once, right? I don't think he's even played an inning in spring training, so it's really weird.
He's a part of the World Baseball Classic, is he not?
I'm assuming he is, but it's kind of weird we haven't seen him at all.
Who, Valdez?
Valdez, I've been impressed with, but he's not making the roster either. There's talks he can't play defense. I've seen him. He looked fine, but I do think he's going to struggle against lefties in the majors, and I want to give him every day at bats in the minors.
Yeah, I've really liked Valdez. I like his swing a lot. I hate the Juan Soto comparison. I'm so sick of seeing that on Twitter. I know they're just comparing his stance, but you shouldn't compare anybody with Juan Soto. But I think it could be an interesting duo with Arroyo and Valdez, because you could play the lefty-righty scenario and still give Arroyo some ABs against right-handed pitching. If there's any position where a guy can kind of learn on the job a little bit, it probably is second base. I think that might be the easiest one to kind of hide at times. Although maybe with the shift, it's not as easy. With the shift limitations, it might not be as easy now to hide it. But I do think Valdez will start the season in AAA and continue to get ABs there. But I do like him a lot.
You said the Juan Soto comparison. I see the similarities in his batting stance and his swing. But Juan Soto is 6'2", 220. Valdez is 5'9", 170. There's a big difference, man. They're not going to be the same player. They have very similar swings, but they're not going to be the same player. And Juan Soto always has one of the best on-base percentages every year. Since he was 19, I think he came up in the majors. He was 19, and he's always been a high on-base guy. And Valdez had a 900 OPS, I think, between the Astros and the Red Sox last year. But you can't just stick him up in the majors and expect him to be Juan Soto. I'm kind of sick of that.
No, I don't think anybody is really making that comparison. But it's just the batting stance, and I don't want anyone thinking Valdez is anything like Valdez or like Juan Soto, because it's just crazy.
I got a question for you guys. Do you think Kike bats leadoff? I personally don't want him to, but I just think that's what's going to happen with Cora, and he likes Kike at leadoff.
I had Tristan leading off.
I personally want Yoshida lead off, but it's came out he doesn't want to bat leadoff, and Cora wants him to bat more in the middle of the lineup. But this team needs a leadoff hitter, and it needs a leadoff hitter who gets on base. And if Yoshida gets on base and hits well, you got to stick him there. I feel like you got to force him to. But you never know. I don't think Kike's that good of a hitter. He gets hot, and when he's hot, he's unreal. But when he's not hot, he's not that good.
Yeah, I think I like Kike down in the order, maybe 8 or even 9, and kind of turning the order down, or turning the order. Goodness gracious, order over. I think he can provide some pop in the bottom of the order. I think Cassis is interesting as a leadoff hitter. I'm just not sure they're going to want to put Cassis and then Devers back to back, 2 lefties in a row. Also, I don't know if you want to put that type of pressure on Cassis. It might be better early on. Let him get his feet wet and be comfortable in the middle of the order, somewhere around 5 or 6 or even 7. Just let him get comfortable at the big league level before putting, a leadoff role on his shoulders.
I get why Cassis is. You think I get why people say he's good leadoff hitter. Like, he gets on base. I just think he can be more of a run producer than that. Like, later, I think he can be a 4 batter, a 5 batter, or even a 3 batter in a few years. Or I think he could be really good. Just I don't want to stick him in the leadoff spot and he's going to fail and then he sucks all year. I kind of want to stick him 5-6 and hide him a little bit. But I get hide him. I just think we got a lot of average players on this team. Like, I don't think many players are bad. I mean, Devers is very good. Turner's a little bit above average. Duvall's average. Verdugo's average. Arroyo's a good hitter when he's healthy. We don't know what Yoshida is, but I just think Casas has the highest ceiling, and if you want him to drag in runs, he's got to be not lead off.
Yeah, I kind of see him almost in – if you were to put him in that leadoff spot, I kind of see him as like a Kyle Schwarber type player, where he just, potentially provides power but gets on base and sets the stage for, Devers. And they need to find somebody that can get on base for Devers, because if first base is constantly open, which I could see that potentially being an issue if Kike is the leadoff hitter, I think you're going to have teams be very careful to Devers and say, I'll put him on first base, or I'll make Devers swing out of the zone, which he's not afraid to do. He's not great at taking the walk. And I think you could see teams just say, I'll pitch around him. If I put him on first base, I put him on first base, and I'll make Turner or Duvall or Verdugo, whoever's behind him, I'll make those guys beat me over Devers, because that's what I would do. Rafael Devers is not beating me in a tight game.
That's why I like Devers at 2. Like what you said, I'd put him on first base. So if you get the leadoff hitter out, I don't think you just pitch around Devers as the second batter. But if he was batting third and you get the first 2 batters out, put him on first base and take your chances with Duvall or whoever the hell is batting fourth, like Casas or Yoshida.
I have Devers batting second in my lineup.
I think Devers has to bat second. And I think that's what Cora's going to do.
I have Verdugo batting third. I'm out of control.
If I got Yoshida batting first, I got Turner at 3. I mean, Turner did just get hit in the face, so we'll see how he's doing. I mean, it looks like he'll be fine, but, he won't play for a few weeks probably. At least a week, I'm assuming.
I think it's
that
going
just
to
happened today.
Happened, was that 2 days? Yes.
I think it happened Monday or Tuesday.
Monday,
He got hit in the
I think.
face.
Tuesday, I don't remember, but he got hit in the face. It was against the Tigers,
Tigers.
whatever day that was.
Oh, I do remember seeing something about that. When you work like 10 hour, oh shit, sorry. When you work like 10-hour days, sometimes you get your day all mixed up. Like at one point today, I thought today was Wednesday. And they're like,
You're
no,
only
it's
one day
Thursday. I was
behind.
like, yeah. Usually you're a day ahead, right? I was a day behind. And I was like, today's what? Thursday. So yeah, so I am a little off on my days right now, but that's all right. That's all right. I have Yoshida batting in a cleanup spot.
I personally think that's
I
where
probably
Cora. I don't know if I love him there. I mean, once he starts the season and he's driving and runs, and I'd love him in the leadoff spot. But right now, we need a leadoff hitter, and this team really needs a leadoff hitter. Needs to get someone on base for Devers. And I think Yoshida has the next highest ceiling to get on base. I think he'll have a better on base percentage than Kike this year for sure.
Do you think a guy like Christian Arroyo could find his way in the leadoff spot?
I personally rather have Arroyo in the leadoff spot than Kike. Do I think he'll find his way there? Not unless he starts the year batting 450 or something, but I don't.
I have hit batting ninth for that leadoff turnaround spot. I just played that way in my head, like Arroyo should bat ninth and be that extra leadoff guy in case the end of the inning happens.
I think it'll be Arroyo or Kike 9. But also that one.
I think if McGuire is catching, I think McGuire is going to be the 9-hole hitter. I think he's going to turn it over. And also, the Red Sox lineup does have quite a group of lefties that they are going to probably have to try to mix and match. You got Yoshida, Verdugo, Casas, Devers, McGuire sometimes. They're going to have to.
He's a switch hitting catcher. I forgot.
Yeah, they're going to have to try to mix and match because it's a little easier now because you have to have the 3-batter minimum rule for relievers.
So is Valdez right-handed at least?
Valdez is a lefty.
Yeah. So those 3 guys I talked about earlier are all left-handed. Cox, Fitzgerald, and Valdez.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of righties on this team.
I mean, when Story comes back, that's a right-handed hitter that it's going to be batting maybe leadoff, maybe fourth, maybe third.
We can't even talk about him till August, though.
And Mondesi's a right-handed hitter, correct?
Yeah, Mondesi's a right-handed hitter, yes. I question that signing. Did anyone else question that?
I didn't know he was
just because he's always hurt.
I didn't know he was still hurt when they acquired him. I actually liked it when they got him, but now that I realize he's still out, like, why? You could have gone out and got another guy that didn't have a torn ACL.
I thought it was a sneaky signing. I think it's a really low risk, high reward type of potential. Because I could see a scenario where maybe he is the starting shortstop for this team in May or June. Like I could see a scenario with that. And I've always loved Kike Hernandez as a super utility guy. I think that is when he is at his absolute best. When he is an everyday guy, I think he slightly gets exposed more at the plate than he does in the field. I think he's a terrific defender, but I like the ability to move Kike to second or put him in center, put him in right. I just think he kind of was used that way for the Dodgers, and I really like that option to have a guy that can give a guy a day off almost anywhere on the diamond. And I think Mondesi has a chance to. He's a good defender. He has some pop. I think he has a chance if he can stay healthy which is a huge, huge question mark, because he's had many injuries. But if he's healthy, I think it's a possibility come, mid-season.
A point I want to make is anyone else worried about Duvall being an everyday center fielder and being exposed by high velocity right-handed pitchers like Garrett Cole or Manoah or other guys in this division that could just blow him away? He strikes out a lot. He hits lefties well. He doesn't hit righties very well, and he runs into some bombs, but he's going to strike out 2-3 times a game sometimes. I don't want him in the middle of the lineup against Garrett Cole, against Alek Manoah.
I have him batting 7th.
It's just if they want to move lefties and righties, you might have to bat 5, or 4 or something crazy. Against lefties, I think
I wasn't playing the matchup card. I was playing where I think they should be.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I do think it'll be a little bit of a change if you get a lefty starter. He might bat a little bit higher. I mean, right now he's the center fielder unless you're going to platoon him with Tapio or Duran or.
I think once Mondesi comes back, though, like we just talked about, we'll be able to sneak Kiki in the center and still have Arroyo to put it second, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mondesi could play second or short. Mondesi could play second or short. I saw that in Kansas City.
That's what I would like to do.
Yeah. But we don't know when Mondesi is going to come back because they haven't said a thing about him. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I feel like it's just this team is full of question marks, whether it's the offense or it's the starting rotation. It's just one question after another. And I think probably what will happen is some of those questions will be positive eventually, and then some of them are going to be negative, and it's how do they kind of react and which ones kind of outweigh the other is probably how their season goes.
I think it's a very strangely built roster. Adam Duvall, Bobby Dahlbeck are two guys that I don't think can hit right-handed pitching with velocity. Every time I see Bobby Dahlbeck, anything over 95 miles per hour, I don't think he can hit it. I think he strives against lefties that throw slow, and he'll hit bombs against them. I think the same thing with Duvall. Devers is the only very good player on this team, and everyone else is just an okay player. And I think it's just a weirdly built roster. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're good. I think that a lot of people
Mondesi real quick. Mondesi is on his own taking batting practice and infield drills on his own, just not with the team. So there is quiet notes, and this was like 3 hours ago posted, so I don't know if anyone saw that or not.
He's a guy that with the bigger bases and if steals go up, he might steal a lot of bags. He's very fast. He'd be nice to have on the roster as someone else, but he's not going to start opening day for sure.
He said he's trying. That's what it says in there. He says he is trying for opening.
If he's not with the team in spring training right now, he's not making the roster. Just this is how it's going to happen.
I'm just letting you know what I'm reading. So, I mean, I have no idea, but this is what it was coming out of Mondesi's camp 3 hours ago. Of course, you're going to leave optimism. You're on a new team. You're trying to look good. So, of course, you're going to say you're going to try and be there for opening day.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my thoughts. But he hasn't even been in the clubhouse yet. Go ahead.
I don't think opening day is necessarily that big of a deal. I think if he's back by – it is to the fans, but once opening day happens, there's so many roster moves throughout the first month of the season, it feels like. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think if he is back by mid-April, May at the latest, I think we'll kind of have a good idea of who is Adam Duvall in Boston. Where is the need for right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching? Can he do both? I think if he's back by May, I think it gives the Red Sox so many more options. that they probably will need based on the way their roster is constructed. It is a very strange roster. I agree with that 100% what Nick said.
Does Duran make this lineup?
Yeah, is it Duran? Is it Tapia? Is it like who makes that last outfield?
Could Tapia be an everyday center fielder again?
I don't think I'd like to make the roster, but I don't think he will because he's not on the 40-man, and it's just another guy you have to DFA or trade. It's just you got Duran. He's already on the roster. You might as well keep him at that point. I think Tapia's been doing a great job, though. Like I really do. I think he deserves the spot.
I was gonna say he's off to a pretty hot spring right now.
No,
but this whole hot right now, so it's hard to debate. Like,
go ahead. I'm sorry. If Turner starts
the year on
IL,
my bad, Nick.
if Turner starts the year on the IL with the face injury, Tapia and Resnider are probably going to be the platoon DH, I think. But I think Turner will be fine. I do think Turner will be fine.
Turner's what, 38?
37, 38, I think, yeah. But he just got hit in the face. It's not like an age thing. He got hit in the face by a fastball. It's just, can he see the ball? That's what it comes down to. Is he comfortable getting back in the box in the next few days?
And he's one of those guys that, well, I'm sure he will now. I'm sure he'll wear the full face guard now.
Yeah.
I think we're probably, I mean, we're 20, I think today is 21 days till opening day. So with the World Baseball Classic, you're going to have a lot of guys who are still not in Red Sox camp for the next 10 plus days. So I think Duran and Tapia is going to be something that you really want to watch for the next 10 plus days and see who really is, really still swinging it well, 2 weeks from now. Because I think they could give it to the hotter hitter. If Duran really struggles over the next couple of weeks, I would easily give it to Tapia because he can be a productive big league hitter. He's a career 265 hitter. Duran's a career like 224 hitter or 215 hitter, something around there. Like I think more what you're going to get from Tapia over Duran. I think Duran has way more upside than Tapia, but it just depends on what the Red Sox want. Do they want to kind of take a chance with Duran and see what can he do? But again, he's not going to be every day at bats. So that's something that he's probably never really done before. Or do you want to go with Tapia, who has been a bench guy and a role player previously? So you kind of know what you're going to get from him.
So Turner got 16 stitches, and he is at home. He must have he went home. I don't know if he lives in Florida or what. I don't know where he lives, but they said he literally went home. He left the whole training camp and everything.
I know I might have stayed the night in the hospital or something, but they sent him home. I don't know if that means Florida or wherever he lives. I'm assuming that means Florida.
Yeah, I don't know where he lives. I was trying to look that up real quick. He got 16 stitches, so he might be out a little longer than a week. I know these are baseball players.
I don't think he's going to take at bats for at least 10 days. Does that keep him out of the opening day lineup? I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's up to Turner at that point. If he's ready, he's been in the league for 15 years. He knows if he's ready or not. I think he'll be fine. I
don't know. Maybe my opening day roster will come true now. I don't have Turner in my opening day roster. And I made this a long time before I had Duran beating him out in the DH. I really did. Just my awkward thoughts. Because Turner is 38. I mean, he's getting up there. He's not a young buck.
I think they're expecting a lot from him, though, based on the contract they gave him. I think they do expect him to be in the middle of the order protecting Devers. I think they expect him to really be the protection to Devers.
He's got to do something. He's got to be able to produce if they're going to win this year. at least do something.
Right. So that's all I got on that guy, Justin Turner. 16 stitches at home. They really didn't give a timetable. Like we said, it's probably up to him.
It's probably, what is it, like 10, 14
We don't
days?
know like the extent of anything. So it pretty much said was he got 16 stitches, so, and he's sitting at home.
Feels a
This
lot
isn't
like
a hockey
many
player
of
where
the
you
Red
get
Sox players.
16. It's not a hockey player where you get 16 stitches and you're back on the ice in the next shift.
No, but
full cage. Let's go. Oh man.
do you
All
think
right.
it's the Red Sox philosophy as a team to not give timelines? Because I feel like we don't know anything about Bayo really in terms of his timeline. Whitlock, we don't really know his timeline. Mondesi, we don't know his timeline. Turner, we don't know his timeline. I mean, is it too far out for some of these guys, or is this kind of like just a philosophy in terms of their training staff and say, you know, we're just gonna let these guys go so we don't put an extra stressor on them to get back by a specific time?
For Mondesi, I have no idea because I feel like they've been secretive about him the whole time. I think Whitlock was throwing a pen a couple days ago. I think I saw a video and he's ramping it up now. So I think he's about to start throwing live in game. Bayo, I think they were scared it was more serious than it was, so they didn't give a timetable. And I hope it's not serious. We'll see. Because they need him to be good if they're going to compete too. Like he needs to be a good pitcher.
Agreed.
Whitlock and Bello are both facing hitters over the weekend.
There we go. Is it in game or is it just on the backfield? I think it's just on like the backfields. They're going to face a few hitters at a time, which is good. It's a good sign. At least they're throwing off a mound and to hitters. You know, maybe they'll be back mid-April or.
This is live batting session, so.
Yeah, that's not in game yet, but that's the next step before in game action. So hopefully they miss a start or two and they're back and they're fine, and they don't get injured the rest of the way. But you know, every time they say forearm tightness,
it's gonna be a battle for both pitchers to be ready for opening day. So there we go. We got 2 for 1 there. All right, boys. We got anything else? We're gonna rejoin later and see what's going on with this team, or any closing thoughts?
You guys want to give a prediction or something? I don't know. I'm always down to come on.
I didn't even look that far. Oh, I guess we could have talked about the schedule. The 13 in division games instead of 19. How awkward is that?
I think that actually benefits the Red Sox this year over last year because they were awful against the division. But, you know, they could be awful against another division this year. You never know. I mean, you also play more National League teams now. I mean, you might have to play – I haven't looked at the full schedule, so I don't really know exactly who they're playing, but they might play some more better National League teams than they did this year.
They play everyone. You play everyone now. Either it's a 4-3 or a 3-3. I saw one series where there was two, but that was it. And I think the Indians had one series. Like, they didn't go to LA. LA came to Cleveland. They didn't go to LA.
I do know the Marlins go to the Red Sox. The Red Sox don't come to Miami. That is something I do know.
Okay, so that's the one team they canceled out each other. Yeah. Which you figure they would have wanted the Red Sox to come to Miami and sell out.
I know the Yankees come to Miami 4 times this year, which they're all like blackout dates. I don't know. I guess the Marlins go to New York 3 times and they come to Miami 4 times. Kind of weird. And it's not a 4-game series. It's a 2-2. So they play 2 games early in the year and 2 games later in the year.
That's interesting. I personally love the change of schedule. I did not enjoy seeing the Red Sox play the Orioles and all those teams 19 times. I think with 162 games, you absolutely should play every team at least once. So I'm all for this. I think it's good for the game.
I think it's moving towards when they expand, they're going to get rid of 3 divisions. I think that's what they're moving towards. They're going to do something more like
You
football
think
and
we're
go
gonna go
four.
back to like we were before we went to all that, where it was just East and West in one division, and East and West in the American and National League?
I think it'll be more like football where they have 4 in each conference or 4 in each league, and they break up the West into a South or the East into a South. I don't. Maybe they'll move the Marlins and the Rays into a South because they can't break up the Red Sox and the Yankees. They can't break up the Phillies and the Mets and the Braves. It just can't happen. But they can take the Marlins. They can take the Rays out. They might move the Blue Jays to a North or something. I don't know, but you're not going to see the rivalries be broken up. I just can't ever see that happening.
Open up the Orioles, then they play the Pirates right after that. This is the most I looked at the schedule. It's like I want to go. It's like I want to go watch the Pirates and the Red Sox. That was the last time I was at Fenway, so it was 2005 or 4,
Wow.
5.
Last time I was at Fenway was 2018. But the last Red Sox game I saw was opening day in Yankee Stadium last year.
And I almost got into a goofy fight because of Ben Roth. And I wasn't even wearing a Steelers jersey. I was wearing a Pirates jersey.
I was at
But
Fenway.
no, that was the early days. Go ahead.
I was at Fenway last year. I drove up. I live in PA, so it's
Where do you
about
live?
Pennsylvania. I live. It's about 7.5, 8 hour drive. I live right outside of
So
Philadelphia.
you're on the far side of you're by Hershey and stuff.
Yeah, I'm about
Okay, I'm on the other side.
A little over an hour.
I actually was at the
about 10
NFC
hours from
Championship
here.
game this year, so I was in Philly a little bit. Not long ago.
Nice.
Yeah, so like I think we'd go up 79 to 80, then to 81 to get the Boston. I'm sure you go up 81 too, right?
I do. Yep, that's the route.
It's been a while, but I remember. I didn't know you were in. I thought you were in Boston. I thought you were in. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Learn shit every day.
Philly fans are the worst.
So you're probably glad they win.
Yeah, I think the Eagle fans are the worst fans in all of sports. They are just ruthless. They're passionate, but they are just, they are rough.
Well, let's see. Do they come to Philly? Are you going to go if they come to Philly?
Red Sox do go to Philly this year. I think in May, early May.
I'm looking right now.
I got a friend who's a big Phillies fan. He wants us to go to that game, but I don't know.
They are May 5th through the 7th. It's a weekend series.
I'll consider it, but I hate going to that ballpark with those fans.
You could always drive over to Pittsburgh.
I love that stadium.
That was the last game I was at was PNC. I got to see Bogart's his final farewell tour. It turned out to be.
Yeah.
I think that was the picture I used on the YouTube channel tonight. I think.
I've been to the Phillies stadium once. Cool story about my Phillies.
Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. My only time in Philly Stadium was a doubleheader against the Nationals, and it was Bryce Harper's last year with the Nationals. And I thought it was so cool after the fact that I saw Bryce Harper play right field for the Nationals in Philadelphia. It's my only time in Philadelphia. So I thought it was so cool that now he's playing right field in Philadelphia, and he kind of led a team to the World Series, and he's trying to do it again. I'm a big Bryce Harper fan. I've always liked him. Kind of wanted the Sox to go
I got
after
to
him.
see Bryce Harper as a national in DC. They're playing the Mets.
You ever been
It
in
was a
that?
day game.
How far is that from Philadelphia, the DC stadium? Because I've been there once too, but I was a little bit younger.
Ballpark, that's you. I say it's about 5 hours.
5 hours.
No.
I think for me it's like 2.5, 3 hours, depending on traffic.
Yeah,
It
because it's
could be
5 for
bad.
me to get to DC.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 for me, so I imagine it'd be like 2.5 for.
Yeah, I've been there
For you.
once. I wanted to see the stadium. I thought that was a super generic stadium. Nothing really stood out about the Washington Stadium to
It was
me.
really
I
cookie
agree.
cutter, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I thought that stadium was junk, but I got to see it, and I was like, cool. There's
It's
nothing
pretty
special
generic.
about this park. I thought the parking was the worst part.
You mean
Parking in
what
DC
parking?
during a day game? No,
Yeah,
no, thank you.
what parking?
I think I drove around looking for parking spaces, and I got in there at the third inning. I didn't care. I was by myself. I didn't care. I just wanted to see the stadium. So you guys are traveling. How many stadiums have you seen? Well,
Yes. I've seen everyone on the East Coast, not counting Pittsburgh and not Toronto. So I've been to old and new Marlins, new Atlanta. I went to a playoff game last year against the Phillies, the only game the Braves won. Rays, and then Washington, Philly, Baltimore when I was about 4 years old. I don't remember it, but I went. Fenway, Yankees, old and new, Citi Field, Seattle, Kauffman Stadium, Kansas City, and I think that's it. Right there.
that's a good little list. Ballpark.
I think I'm up to 8 or 9. I think I've been to Philly. I've been to Philly, been to City Field, Fenway, Pittsburgh. I've been to Cleveland. I did not like that stadium. I don't know what they call that stadium now. They've changed the name like 4 times, but I was not a fan of that
Progressive. They
stadium.
call it progressive now, but it's always going to be the Jake to me.
Yeah, that's what I always called it too. But I've been there, Baltimore. I think my two favorite outside of Fenway, because obviously I'm a Sox fan and it holds a super special place in my heart. But I think City Field is
Right.
City Field's a really nice place to watch a ball game. And then I love
I
Pittsburgh.
got to see
Pittsburgh
Shea. I
is
didn't get to see.
awesome.
I saw City getting built, but I didn't get to see it. I like
Shea was
Wrigley
a
a lot.
dump.
I like Shea. That's why I liked it, probably because it was a dump, and I was like, "This is not a New York stadium," but I love it. I liked it.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how most stadiums you can tour it. Not in New York. You buy those outfield seats, you can't move out of the outfield. In Shea Stadium, also, if you don't buy, depending on where you sit, that's all you go. Shea Stadium was, I don't know about City, but we just scalped tickets because we were like, let's go to the game, let's get out of here, and we left that and went, and we ended up sitting up top, and we are like, dude, let's go see if we can get down below, and they're like, you need a ticket, and I'm like, what? I was like, can I go get a picture real quick? And they let us go get pictures, but Fenway was by far the most accommodating field I've ever been at. The ushers during the innings let us go down to the dugout, take pictures down there, and they said as long as you get back up here, you can watch the game from here. You can do whatever you want. But they said during the the middle innings, whatever, you can go down, take pictures, see what you can do. And I'm like, that was good accommodation. Another good one for that is Enron or Minute Maid, whatever it's back to now, the Astros Stadium.
Minute Maid, yeah.
That is a really good stadium. That is a really good stadium to be at too. Very accommodating host.
I agree with you about Fenway on that. super, super lenient about letting you go wherever you want. I think it's just because they're always sold out and they know you're not going to just steal someone's seats, I guess, because someone's always be sitting there. Um, I've been to other stadiums where you go to worse seats and they kick you out if it's not your seat, like they need you to sit in your seat. And that's something
Right.
about Fenway. Yankee Stadium's also like that, where they're kind of accommodating. Like you get a seat in the outfield, and if you want to go see the behind home plate for a couple minutes, they let you.
They didn't let us.
I went there opening day, and I moved from right field. I got the behind home plate for a little bit. I mean, I didn't sit there the whole time, but I don't know. They didn't stop me.
That was the old, like we sat literally like above the bullpens, and it was a different section, different part of the ballpark, and they tickets and get accommodations to the whole park. I thought that was weird. But Yankee Stadium, and now the new one, I'm not sure. It might be different now. Before they redid it, whatever. Any good closing thoughts, boys? I know you said about an hour, right? Ballpark.
Yeah, I usually head to bed around 10:45, 11, unless the Sox are playing, but it is Thursday night, so I only have one more day with my students, so I'm not
Yeah, I
super
thought you were a
strict
teacher, and I
about
was like, oh man, I'm keeping this guy up. I was like, I'm keeping this guy up. But he's talking. Do your kids know you do podcasting?
They don't. They know I'm a huge Sox fan. I think I've turned a couple into Sox fans. But a bunch of them are Phillies fans because they're living so close to Philly. But I think if they at least, they could be Phillies fans, but cheer for the Sox as well. So I'm doing my public service there of creating the next generation of Sox fans.
I like it. Grooming. All right. Nick, anything?
Just want to say thanks. I had a good time, and I appreciate it. Had fun, Great talking to you guys.
Hopefully we'll
Absolutely.
do it again. Hopefully we can get the other ones that were coming on. Maybe we can sneak Tom back in. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, if Tom's ever back
It's
on,
good to
I'd
hear
love
that. We got to get him on. Everyone's got to
Yeah, I'll have to message him.
Everyone's got to. Yeah, exactly. I even told him you were coming on. So I mean, he just wasn't at home. There's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, we'll definitely. We can do this whenever, boys. Just let me know. I'll even open the feeds up
Sounds
to
good.
you guys if you want to. I don't have to be here. I can be disappearing. Oh, I did get a cool jersey though. If I can find it. Teddy baseball.
That's pretty dope.
It's got the 1839 and 1939 baseball centennial patch on it. Oh yeah, Mitchell and Ness too. Very excited about that one. That was a good little find I found.
That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to fill my part. I just didn't put it on yet. I don't like taking the tag. I don't like taking the tags off of jerseys, and I'm like, I can't hide this one. If not, it'd be jamming me under the armpit all night, and I'm like, we'll figure it out. But hey, I thank you guys for coming on. We'll see how good we did with our opening day lineups that we called here. Like I said, at least let me know if we want to rejoin and get a show out there. I have no problem. Just has to be after 9 o'clock because that's usually when work lets out.
Sounds good. I really do appreciate you having me on.
Yes,
yeah, me
sir.
too. I had fun. Thank you.
Yes, guys. I had fun too. Always learning a lot. That's what I like. All right, guys. Thank you. And we are